Hi, I'm David Norris and I'm serving up the perfect podcast, Pompey Patter with Russ, Daz and Haz. Play up, Pompey.
He used to be a waiter, did David Norris. Well, he's served up the perfect cocktail here.
Jarrett back to goal, Lang. Needs a bit of help. Goodness from Lang. What can he do? Still there, Lang. Lang! You wouldn't believe it! Cross comes into the near post. Headers into the net! Shaughnessy! Surely Pompey are heading for the championship! Portsmouth are promoted as League One champions!
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Pompey Patter podcast with myself, Haz, Russ and Daz. This episode's name is Beck on Track. Russ, how are we?
Yeah, all good, all good. Always good after a Pompey win.
Absolutely. Dazlar?
Yeah, absolutely the same. A lot more relaxed than I was come the end of the game against Preston.
Absolutely. It was a bit nervous before the game. Obviously, we had a couple of results went against us again, just like they did last night. We'll get onto that. But it was kind of it felt like, I know we've said it a few times, it felt like a must-needed win again against Blackburn, just because of how other teams are kind of closing that gap. It felt like we needed to keep the gap the same. So on today's podcast, we will discuss the Blackburn game and how that went. Then we will preview the Millwall game. We will have Haz versus Daz, Harry's Who Am I, and any other business, which this week will include our relegation predictions on now we're down to like the final digits of games, the single digits of games. We're going to say who we think are going to go, and we're also going to talk about the Portsmouth Supporters Trust fan poll results. They did a poll of, I think it was just over 1,000 fans, and we'll have a little chit chat about that to finish off. So,
I'm assuming we're talking about Coventry as well, yeah?
who's Coventry?
It was Coventry. We got a Wednesday, haven't we?
Have we got? Oh yeah, we have, haven't we? We'll talk about Coventry as well. We will talk about them.
You really threw me there when you said who's Coventry. I was like, are you joking? Or...
Do you know what? I'll just have no care for any away games because we just lose them. So
you did what I always do to you, which is you don't know if I'm joking or not.
We will talk about Coventry as well, of course. Obviously, we are top professionals here at Pompey Patter. So I'll kind of go black. So we'll start obviously with Blackburn. It kind of felt quite a scrappy game. I felt it wasn't really a high class, top quality game.
It was terrible, let's be honest.
Yeah, so all right, Russ, we'll go to you. It kind of Blackburn had a couple of course, started quite hard and fast in the first couple of minutes, and then Pompey managed to find their feet and settle down on the ball a bit more.
Yeah, it was just, it's not a lot to talk about, really, is there? One bit of quality shown in the game from either side, and that was the goal. As you said, Blackburn sort of came out the blocks flying. It didn't take long for us, I thought, to take control. And then obviously got the goal. Great play between Bishop and Murphy. It's a lovely goal and a lovely finish. And then it just kind of, did we even have a shot after that? I can't remember. At least nothing, I don't really remember the goalie making any saves. If I remember correctly, Schmidt did a couple good saves, but again, nothing that you don't expect him to save anyway. It was just, I don't know what else to say. It was just a really poor game.
All right, I'll move on to Daz. Daz, I kind of noticed that obviously we've kind of been known to, so far this season, we really kind of have that high press kind of instantly as soon as the other team kind of play out from a goal kick or they win the ball, we're kind of first and very quickly onto them. It was a bit different this game. We kind of were waiting a bit longer for that press, and we were happy to let Blackburn have the ball a little bit longer before we then engaged in the press. Did you think that was a kind of a smart move rather than kind of going all out pressing like we usually do at home?
I think it was mainly because obviously for us it was important not to overcommit and that sort of stuff. I think we maybe wanted to ease our way into the game. I actually thought before we'd scored, I thought we played pretty well. I thought we moved the ball relatively well, got ourselves in some good areas. Josh Murphy got some decent balls in the box, which were well defended by Blackburn. But it felt that after we had scored, and I think John Messino said this after the game as well, that it sort of seemed to, I don't know whether we got a few nerves or anything like that, but and I don't know whether it was Blackburn coming into the game, and that shows you what kind of game it was, because you can't work out which one's which. But Russ was right; it wasn't a game full of quality. It was basically like sort of whoever blinked first kind of thing. And I think maybe because of Blackburn's poor run, the last thing you want to do, a bit like what we did against Plymouth, is that we gave them a sniff and then they were able to hold on to something. I think it was important for us not to give them something like that. So maybe that came into the thinking. You never know. Again, you got to be within the changing room to know exactly like sort of what was said and what was put across. But I mean, the goal was quality in my eyes. Getting the ball forward and getting them in those areas. The touch from Bishop was stupendous. It was beautiful. I'm trying to think of other words then. In and around the corner, and the finish for Murphy, how he opened his body up. I think it was only going one place. I think the keeper might have given him a bit of, I don't know what Russ thinks coming from the goalkeeper, because it's the angle that you see it from the main camera angle, which it looked like there was quite a big gap there for Murphy to put it in. I mean, he still had to do well because he hit it hard, hit it low, which is bog standard Murphy for you. Like how he hits the ball. I've said it over and over again. He's the best striker of the ball in the club. The way he can hit it, keep it low, put a lot of bend on it, all that sort of stuff. It's a nightmare for defenders and goalkeepers and the like, stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, I think as going back to what you said, I think you're right. It might have just been a fact that, judging off our last home game, Plymouth was our last home game, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was Plymouth our last home game. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so maybe we were a bit wary of maybe potentially giving Blackburn or something coming to.
Go talk about the goalkeeper. I think he did. I'd rather protect my near post. If you're going to score past me, you're going to have to be perfect, and Murphy was.
He did. I felt he showed him way too much of that far side.
He did. I preferably myself would have liked to have been at least one step to the left more.
Yeah.
So it's either he's over cautiously protecting his front post, or he just generally made a mistake. It's one or the other. But I don't think he would have saved it. I think it was just that good of a.
It wasn't really a game of chances, and that was like the only big chance that had kind of been noted down. Obviously, Blackburn had Corley Woodrow had a shot from almost the halfway line, which was a little bit nervy. At one point, it looked like kind of Schmid was scrambling back, and it looked like maybe he'd got him. But I thought Blackburn were shocking. I know, Russ, you really dislike Preston, but I thought Blackburn were probably worse than Preston of what I've seen.
But I think with Preston is they're the team that's been shit home and away. Do you know what I mean? They were awful in both games. That's why I bang on about Preston. But
I don't think
Blackburn were awful.
I don't think Blackburn were anything special in either game either.
No, of course not. But they, at the end of the day, they won.
The only player I kind of really thought stood out was Hayden Carter.
Yeah,
obviously he has more eyes on him anyway. But obviously, being ex-Pompey loanee, he was very quickly a fan favourite, and his 6 months on loan here, especially after that goal versus Oxford.
Got a good reception as well.
And I don't see why he wouldn't have done, because he didn't do anything. I think we wanted to sign him permanently, didn't we? But I think Blackburn, and quite rightly, kept him and said, no, he's a championship player. We want to keep him. But he kind of stood out, really, a kind of a rose in a bunch of thorns, because the rest of Blackburn were pretty shocking. I don't know, which surprised me, really, because I know they'd obviously lost John Eustace has gone, and they haven't exactly done very well under Valerian Ismail so far. That haven't won since he's come in. Has definitely dropped off. but there was a chance of them still being able to get playoffs, and that's pretty much gone now, I would say, because of the amount of losses they went on when Eustace left. They were in the playoffs. They've now dropped down outside, down to like 9th, 10th. So they don't look like they're playing. I'll be surprised if Ishmael is there next season, to be honest, just because
as much as the game lacked quality, like I generally thought our back four was outstanding.
I thought we were comfortable. I
was really happy. I was really happy the way that we sort of, like, in other games we would have given something away, a lack of concentration or stuff like that. Because in those games where there's no real quality and the game's not being played at a high tempo, they're the times when you can sort of make mistakes because you switch off. And I thought, as Russ said, our back line, I thought they were quality, and especially in the second half when they came up against, is it Guy?
Yeah.
He, by the way, is an absolute monster.
He's
I
massive,
did not
isn't he?
realise how big he was.
Yeah.
He made both Ogilvy and Paul look small against.
I mean, they aren't the tallest centre halves, are they? They're both under 6 foot. So,
but the thing is that they're under 6. They're what 6 foot, whatever thing like that. But they're not small lads. Like, it's not like a Tom Lowry size, like skinny. They're.
But they dealt with him though, didn't they?
Especially Paul.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially Paul, who's got he's got a bit of meat on him. Like, do you mean he's not a small guy? And he just he looked massive. And as Russ said just then, they both dealt with him really well. Like, I think for them, I've marked lads so much taller than me. You're not going to win every single header. You're probably not going to win most of the headers. So it was just important. What they did was stopping him getting good contact, stopping him being able to do what he wanted to do, because there was a couple of times when the ball came in the box where you could see they were just putting their bodies in the way and just putting him off. And that's really all they can do. You're not going to compete with him in the air all the time. It's just not going to happen. But I thought defensively, I thought we were really good.
I was kind of surprised actually that Milosevic didn't come on, because I thought once Gay came on, I thought just get some height in there and just literally get Milosevic to basically just man mark Gay. And even if you went to 5 at the back just for the last bit, you might have been inviting a bit more pressure. But I was kind of surprised to see Williams come on at left back. I thought that Ogilvy might go to left back and Milosevic goes into centre half, but maybe he's not quite there yet. Second half, kind of Pompey dropped deeper at times. Blackburn came out and looked like they had some kind of intent, really. But there was just not a lot. Again, we didn't. We had one shot off target. They had one shot on target in the second half. There was literally nothing. We, as Russ said, we were just comfortable the whole time. As much as they had a lot more of the ball in the second half than the first, and than we did.
It's one of them where I said it last week. The result's more important than the performance.
Yeah,
now.
and it's a very similar kind of trajectory to last season, but at the other end of the table. Yeah. Whereas we got to this stage last season at the top of the league and went, we don't give a shit about the performance now. It's about just getting the wins under the belt and keeping that run going. And now it's exactly the same, but the other end of the table.
Yeah, but obviously, because I've seen a bit, and I'm the same as you guys. The performance for me isn't the be all and end all, but the performance still has to be at a level, because
of course
you can get away with that, not being very good in the League 2, maybe League 1 as well, but in the Championship you still have that, and that's what I think we did well on Saturday. That's the perfect example where we weren't like Brazil. It wasn't our best football. I think we played much better football against Leeds when we were going forward, but defensively, once we'd got that goal, defensively, I thought we locked everything up pretty well, and so our performance was probably a 5, really, out of 10 for as a whole. But defensively, you'd look at it as probably an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, and I thought that the second half subs from Messino were he's normally pretty decent at his subs. Him, Harley, Zesh, and Joe Perdomo, they kind of all have a big old discussion, and then they're normally pretty bang on. And I thought they were again, having that kind of like Jack Russell as such of Terry Devlin, where he's just going to chase anything and everything and just keep running and running. Sheesh was the right change. Williams did okay, had a few nervy moments, but it's just his first game back from injuries from a few months out. So again, he did okay. And when Pack came on again towards the end of the game, I thought he did pretty decent to kind of come in and help with aerially with Gay and kind of a bit more of a physical presence again. But other than that, I'm happy to move on. To be honest, we got the win. wasn't pretty. We probably deserved the win, to be honest, out of the two teams. But that was about it, really.
Yeah.
There was not much moaning from the Blackburn end on social media.
I don't think they could really. They didn't. They offered even less than us, and we offered not a lot. So
yeah, they weren't like going, oh, we should at least got a draw or anything like that. They were like, that was shit. We deserved to lose. So
yeah. Just a quick one. We had. Did we finish with 5 fullbacks on the pitch in the end?
we did, yes. I think Messino joked that he's going to go see if he can get 6 on there at some point.
Get John.
Well, I still say Devlin's. I know he can play right back, but I still wouldn't call him a right back.
He's still a midfielder, really, isn't he?
But
he did play right back for or wing back for Northern Ireland the other day. So
he's running there. He can play anywhere.
Yeah, that's why he's our little James Milner.
Yep,
he is our James Milner.
He's our Northern Ireland sweet prince.
But I think he's more fun than James Milner because James Milner is boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Right, let's go on to Millwall. I've done a bit of Millwall prep. I've done no Coventry prep at all because I forgot we were playing them.
Are we playing Coventry?
Apparently, Russ says we are. He's just added a random fixture for us.
No, we are. Definitely are.
So, Millwall. Oh, dear, Millwall. Millwall haven't done too great since they beat us. They've won 4, drawn 2, lost 4. They've kind of been your average mid-table team, really, which is exactly what Millwall are. They've got quite a few injuries. They've got Scanlon out, Honeyman, Lovelace, Aziz, McNamara. The backup keeper, Roberts, is still suspended after his kung fu fighting against Palace in the FA Cup. Their top scorer is Ivanovic on 6, which is very low. That no one in their whole squad has got above 6 goals is pretty shocking, to be honest. But the last time we beat Millwall, can either of you tell me?
What away?
At all?
I know we beat Millwall 1-0 at Millwall. I think Liam Lawrence had a penalty. But was that the last time? I don't know if that was the last time or not.
It was indeed. That was the last time we happened to beat Millwall, and it was also at the Den. So it was a Liam Lawrence penalty. 2010-11 season in October.
Yeah, was that David Norris season? No, it was that season before.
No, it wasn't. He wasn't there.
No.
The referee is Ben Toner. We've had him a few times last year, but not this year at all. He has ref some champ games. Last year, we did our 2-1 win against Oxford at home and our 0-0 draw at home to Cheltenham. What else did I put? Sorry, I'm proper shitting myself on this hosting stuff. I'm doing an awful job today. Doing a proper Spurs, bottling it. 14 games in charge of Pompey since he started reffing. 5 wins, 3 draws and 6 losses. So we'll go to Daz first. How are we feeling about Millwall?
Well, I think obviously I know you haven't got the Coventry bits and bobs and stuff like that, but I think for us this week we do need to follow up the performance on Saturday. The performance with more the result. Sorry, and for me, like, either 2 or 3 points out of these next 2 games is pretty vital, I think, because you might have some teams below us that you just picking up those 1 or 2 extra points might just like put us under a bit, and you look, instead of 5 points, you're looking at like 3 and stuff like that, which is a sort of situation I don't want to be in. I would prefer us out of the next 2 games to win 1, lose 1 if I was going to choose. Obviously, I'd want to win both, clearly. But my idea is that we're probably going to either pick up 3 or 2 points. So I'd prefer, if it's going to be a win, I am going to go for us to win on Saturday. I'm going like 1-0. I think we're going to do to them what they did to us. I've got Bishop to score. And do you know what? I think it could be the same as what we played and Liam Lawrence scored. I think it'll be a 1-0 at the away end, and it'll be a penalty. That's what I'm feeling.
Russ, how are we feeling? Are we matching Daz's ambition?
Out of the two, this is probably the one where I can see us getting a result, just because Millwall, holiday mode now? You don't know what type of meal you're going to get. Are they on trying to think where their holiday is going to be, or are they going to take it as seriously as us? We got something to play for. They don't. Sometimes that can be dangerous. Sometimes it can be helpful. Plus, it being away, and we know they can be difficult bastards. I've gone for a draw, and I honestly think a point out of the next two isn't terrible. So I'm going for a draw, but I'm going for a 0-0.
Going for a 0-0. So as we did before on mine, if you get that, you'll get those bonus points on that 0-0.
Yep, that's a good point actually. What is when you done your Millwall? What let us know what the league table is.
I will do, because we have had points increase for certain players. So, I don't know. I just don't have a lot of confidence in our away form. It's difficult. I think a minimum needs to be at least one draw out of the next two games. We need to get something on the board, because when we come into Derby in 2 games' time, 3 games' time, we want to be able to come in and be in a good position, because we could be in the relegation zone by the time we play Derby, and we don't want that. So I think I kind of go with both of you as such. I think we'll get something. We're more likely to get something at Millwall because of what Russ said. They're on holiday. They're there, but they're not going up. They're not going down. They're just in the middle. Do I go for a win or do I go for a draw? I'm going to go for a 1-0 Pompey win. And I'll take Matt Ritchie. Why not? So the points after Blackburn, Russ got 3 because he got the correct prediction in the way the result went, and Murphy, the goal scorer. Daz got 1 point because he also went for a Pompey win. I got 0. So the updated table is me in last place on 24, Daz on 26 in second, and Russ on 35.
Wow.
He's got a 9-point lead. Is he gonna do a Leeds?
Wow.
Or Spurs.
Wow.
Leeds.
You never know. Like if it's 1-0 on Saturday and one of us gets the right goal scorer, that will catch him up a bit.
Absolutely. Could be getting some max points there.
Yeah.
It's going to be 0-0, and then I'll get all the points.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you get 5. I think it's 5.
I think we need to
points
start discussing the forfeit for the loser.
Yeah, I was panicking at one point because I was like, it was my idea, and I think I'm bottom at the moment.
Let's put it out to the listeners. If you are listening on here on X, or you are listening on one of the podcast platforms, please reply to us on Twitter or leave a comment on where the podcasts are. And if there is any ideas within reason, obviously, of a forfeit idea that you can kind of come up with, maybe something Pompey related, and we might collect a few and then kind of put a poll out of maybe 2 or 3 ideas, and we'll try and come up with our own as well. Right, Coventry. Quickly go on to that. I've done a little bit of research while you two did yours. Gavin Ward is the referee. He's done 23 games for Pompey, 9 wins, 5 draws, 9 losses. 1 game this season, which was our 2-1 win at home against Middlesbrough. Coventry have been quite resurgent since we played them at Fratton Park, back when Frank Lampard had just taken over. They now find themselves up in 5th place in the playoffs. they've been doing pretty decent overall. They've had a couple of losses in their last 3 games. They lost 2-0 to Derby and 3-1 to Sheffield United. But before that Derby loss, they went on a 5-game winning streak, which I think is the longest in club history for them or something. I saw there's some kind of record that had been broken. Got a couple of good players, obviously Ephraim Mason-Clark, we know about from League One. Bobby Thomas, the centre half, quite a big unit. He's got 5 goals this season for them, which is pretty decent return for a centre half. So there's a couple of players to kind of watch out for, but I think there's some places where we can get at them, but it's just whether we have enough, especially having kind of our back-to-back away games. We're never that great with double away games. But who did I go to first last? It was Daz, wasn't it? So Russ, let's go to you for your Coventry prediction.
I think this is the toughest out of the two. We're awful away from home on a Wednesday. Don't even think we've done that well at home either. I think of Cardiff. I think, is that it? The only win midweek.
Might be.
They're gunning for playoffs, aren't they? Been flying since we beat them 4-1. So for me, I'm gonna get us a goal just because I can't have another game with us not scoring. But we're gonna lose 3-1.
Goal scorer?
I'll go Bishop. Just go safe.
Daz.
No, obviously, I know I said that I think it's going to be either 3 or 2 points over this next 2 games, but I'm going to still be positive and give us an extra point on top of the 3 we hopefully get on Saturday. I'm going to go with a 1-1. I'm going to go with like a Josh Murphy, and I know we're pretty bad away from home anyway, but away from home midweek, obviously we're not even worse, but you'd like to think if we can get a positive result on Saturday, that we might take that into Wednesday. And I think the way Coventry play does suit us. And on that big pitch, I'd like to think Murphy could be able to give them a run around. And I think we'll nick a 1-1, Josh Murphy.
Okay, so I'm kind of with Russ. I think it's going to be a struggle for us. I'm going to go for quite a heavy defeat, to be honest. I'm going to go for a 4-1 loss. Rather than that's kind of what I'm almost expecting, rather than kind of put a positive result and then be fucked off that we don't get it. I'm going to go for quite negative, go on along the Russ route, be negative, and then if we get anything better than that, I'd absolutely take it. Again, little announcement. It's not me wanting us to lose. It is very different from me wanting us to lose to what I think will happen. I would never want us to lose a match.
To be honest, it sounds like you both want us to lose. If you just want to just say it.
I just think it's a bit more realistic. I just think he's got them ticking, he's got them going, and they're a far different place from where they were when we played them when he just took over back in December. So I really hope I'm wrong, but
yeah. So hope we can only hope of being. This is just like I said earlier when we joked I'm Mr. Negative. It's just realistic. And I don't think it's a disgrace to go and lose to Coventry.
I mean Sunderland just lost 3-0 to them, right? So it's
exactly.
Not...
I just hope I would rather we go and try and play for a draw and be a bit of a dick like a Plymouth or a Millwall and just be horrible and waste time and I would happily do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also hope to keep the score down because even though I'm pretty confident we'll get to it later that we are going to stay up, I don't even think it's going to be close to us going down. But just in case, you hope that we don't get pumped to keep that goal difference down.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping that goal difference down is quite key. Miltos has joined us. Good evening, Miltos. Can we get your quick predictions on Millwall and Coventry?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I hope you are all doing all right. On Blackburn, really quickly, I thought it wasn't the most beautiful game there's ever been, of course, but we got the job done in the end. Something that we've not always been able to do, even in days that we have played well. So I think that was the most important thing. And honestly, hopefully, that is going to be the case for the game against Millwall as well, where, going to be brutally honest, I'm not going into it feeling as confident. But I think if I had to make a prediction, head says that we're going to lose. Heart says 1-0 win, Colby Bishop penalty. Nice and simple. Hopefully, that is the case.
So what are you going for, head or your heart, Miltos?
I'm going with my heart. Yeah, I rarely do that in general, but I'm going to stick with what my heart says for now.
And what does your heart say for Coventry, which seems the more tougher of the two games on paper?
Well, I think Coventry on paper looks a way tougher game. First of all, considering the run of form that Coventry have been under, Frank Lampard. So I think that's going to be a really tough game, obviously, on Wednesday. And I can see, look, we've had plenty of away days that we've had like hammerings and really big scorelines go against us. I'm fearing that this could be one of those days, hopefully it won't be, but I struggle, even my heart struggles to find the courage to think something more than a defeat, to be honest.
Lovely. Right. So what was the prediction for Coventry, the scoreline?
I'm gonna go with a 2-0 loss. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's better than the 4-1 loss I went for.
Better than a 3 and 4-1.
Yeah, better.
Miltos, I'll quickly ask you now, do we have enough to stay up?
Well, yes, I think we do. I think that's a completely different argument to make. I think we have got enough to stay up. I think we will stay up. We've got 7 really big games coming up. And I think we need to approach the home games in a manner where we go all in for them. I think it all comes down to which teams hit the best run of form in these sort of final 7 games. We may see a team or two go down that maybe we weren't expecting to go down even a couple of months ago. Remember, Oxford were looking really safe, like even in January, December time, and there we were looking dead, deemed to get relegated. And now look at how the dice have turned. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I think we've got enough in us to stay up.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Miltos, for joining us. I think that's probably us to move on to Has versus Daz. Russ, do you have it, or do you need a little bit more time?
I'm talking then when I'm still on mute. Yeah, no, I can go when you're ready.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Mil.
Cheers, Miltos.
Cheers, mate.
Having you back on again soon. Russ.
Right, so
whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we are going. So at the moment, the scores are Has 9, Daz 11. We're going to do similar to last week, so we can do 60 seconds, kind of guess who. But this time it's current Premier League players. All right. Has, sorry, you are behind, so you always get to pick first or second.
We'll go second this time.
Okay, Daz.
Yep.
Your 60 seconds. Oh, hang on, that's not my. watch. That's my calculator. Starts now.
Do they play for one of the big six?
No.
Are they in the relegation zone?
No.
Are they mid-table?
Yes.
Do they play for a team in red?
Yeah.
Red and white?
No.
Oh, mate, I'm all over the shop here. This is a lot harder. Are they a striker?
No.
Midfielder?
No.
Defender?
Yes.
Defender. Team like kind of red, like mid-table-ish. Do they play for Bournemouth?
No.
I think I'm done here. This is a lot harder, this, because you've got a whole league to pick from.
There's probably certain questions that have narrowed it down quicker, but
yeah. Well, I've done that. How long have I got left on this?
5 seconds.
No.
Well, you get a final guess.
Team that kind of play in red. Jesus, defender. Nah, I can't think. Give up.
It was Joe Ward for Crystal Palace.
Oh, he's proper done you there.
I had to. Right. Are you ready?
I am indeed.
Right, 1 sec. I just got to get up his profile. So if you ask something, I can answer it. Right. Your 60 seconds starts now.
Does he play in the Big Six?
The traditional Big Six or
Yes.
Yes.
Does he play for United?
No.
Spurs?
He does.
Heung-min Son?
No.
James Maddison?
No.
Lucas Bergvall?
No.
Dom Solanke?
No.
Wilson Odobert?
No.
Mickey van der Ven?
No.
Christian Romero?
No.
Jed Spence?
Yes.
There we
Correct.
go.
Well done. Well done.
What a player. I think he's a quality player, by the way. He just needs to sort his attitude out.
What's wrong with his attitude then?
Well, there's a reason why Conte didn't want him and he had those problems with Warnock, isn't there?
I don't know. I don't really pay attention.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a stinky attitude, but he seems to have sorted it out this season. If he carries on, though, he'll be doing good.
Fair enough. Are you ready, Daz?
Yep.
All right. Again, let me just get the profile up. And your time starts now.
Does he play for a team in relegation zone?
No.
Is he playing for one of the top six, big six?
Yes.
Man United?
No.
Liverpool?
Yes.
Is he a striker?
No.
Defender?
Yes.
Virgil van Dijk?
No.
Konate?
No.
Trent Alexander?
He got it.
That's a bit better, that one.
He ain't said his full name, lad.
That's it. It's Trent Alexander. That's what he calls himself.
I'm not you.
I mean, with the whole thing with Trent Alexander-Arnold just shows that you'll never walk alone unless you want to leave.
What do they want? He's won every single trophy possible at that club.
I mean, it's down to the club. They didn't tie him down to a new contract, and that's mental. And I've seen Jamie Carragher trying to make up some excuse because of they had different sporting directors coming. But you telling me there's not one person at that club that couldn't have just sorted that out rather than needing a sporting director?
No, I agree.
I'd like to think even if we didn't have Richard Hughes which funny enough they have Richard Hughes at their club, he just didn't get sorted earlier. Are you telling me I would like to think Andrew Cullen could step in and sort something out?
Yeah. Why couldn't they have done it before the summer? Why couldn't they have done it last season?
Yeah. Well, because it's the Liverpool sporting director is now Richard Hughes used to play for us, isn't it?
The whole thing with Trent is just, I think it's just typical Scousers.
They did it with Michael Owen and Steve McManaman as well.
Yeah, and they would have done it to Gerrard as well.
Yeah, because Gerrard was a step away.
He was almost in Chelsea, wasn't he? He was very close.
Yeah, I'm sure he admitted on his documentary that he stayed because of kind of the threats he was getting, really.
From a local gangster, apparently.
Yeah.
I kind
Do you
of
know what I
said,
mean?
apparently he'd said to his family that if Steven Gerrard goes, you're going to have to leave as well. Because basically, like he said, his family would have been, and then apparently the Gerrard family then got themselves their own gangster to have a pop at that gangster.
Yeah, and it's just the way they are. Like, how are they to say if a player wants to play for the biggest club in the world? You know,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a footballer out there that would ever reject Real Madrid. Has there ever been a player who's gone, nah,
No.
don't go to Real Madrid?
It doesn't matter whether you're playing for your boyhood club or not, does it? It's
if I was playing with Pompey, I would have turned him down.
no, you wouldn't.
No,
You wouldn't.
No.
You
But the thing is, what makes me
It's
laugh
not going
is
to have been an easy decision for him. It's not like he's just gone, yeah, let's just do it for fun. Like, he would have seriously thought about it. But
yeah, what makes me laugh as well is the fact that Liverpool fans were saying before Jude Bellingham went to Real Madrid that both Trent Alexander-Arnold and obviously Jordan Henderson were trying to they were being Jude Bellingham's best mate to get him to come over to Liverpool. When all along Jude Bellingham was just trying to get Trent over to Real Madrid.
But the other thing, you know, they're saying it's because he's going without a fee and he's a disgrace. One, that's not his problem or his fault.
that's on the club.
And two, he didn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
You've made so much money from him being one of your best players. You've won a Champions League because of like that corner he did against Barcelona.
Yeah.
Was so clever. And if he ain't done that, they might not have won the tie and never gone on to win that year's Champions
It's
League.
basically like if they sold Van Dijk for 75 million.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you sell an academy product, all of that money, like, so if they sold it for 70 million, that's 70 million profit. That goes into FPR.
Yeah.
But if they sold Van Dijk, for example, like that, they don't. Not all of that goes to FPR. Is it FPR? Whatever it's called now.
PSR.
Financial fair play.
Yeah, whatever the fucking is. But yeah, it's that's probably another thing that fans are moaning about.
But that's not on Trent.
No.
Oh, I should sign a contract. So then, no, you got a chance going. Real Madrid are not buying players. You look at their last few transfers.
Kicking off.
It's all freebie. You know, they've got Mbappe on a free.
Yeah.
David Alaba on a free. I think.
Sorry. Romero decided to body Colwill to the floor, and now Chalobah and Bentancur are trying to actually fight each other.
Right. Let's carry on Vaz versus
Sorry,
Vaz.
that's quite interesting. Of course Romero's involved. It fucking has to be, doesn't he? He's crazy.
Right. Haz, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Go.
Does he play in the traditional Big Six?
No.
Is he currently in the relegation zone?
Yes.
Does he play for Ipswich?
Yes.
Connor Chaplin?
No.
Jack Clark? Is he a
No.
defender?
No.
Is he a striker or attacker?
Yes.
Liam Delap?
No.
Omari Hutchinson?
No.
George Hurst?
Correct.
Yes. George Hurst. What a guy.
Yeah. How's he got on this season?
He's got a couple of Premier League goals, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he picked up an injury, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think, and he's behind Liam Delap, and he's not getting ahead of him. Liam Delap scored again yesterday, didn't he?
Liam Delap's not going to be there next season, whether they stay up or not.
No, I mean, I don't think the bottom three is the bottom three, and I can't see because also
say that though, and Ipswich Wolves, and if Ipswich beat them, they're only just behind.
Yeah, but we need Wolves to win because Wolves win, scum are gone.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
unless, but don't forget, they are playing Spurs.
Even Spurs can't be that Spursy, surely. Come on.
I don't know about that.
I would sit in a corner and cry if they ended up doing that, because then they'll beat the Derby's points record, and we really want them to be that.
Yeah. Then that's it. I just think I just can't see. I just can't see Ipswich getting out of it. I think they could do. I think they're now in the best position out of all the teams in the bottom three. But I kind of hope. I kind of want. No, not kind of. I want Wolves to win on the weekend.
Well, yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I was so glad Palace scored as late as they did.
They were lucky it was as
beautiful.
late as it was, because if it was about 5-10 minutes earlier, I think they would have lost the whole game.
Yeah, well, they were having another go, weren't they?
Yeah.
Palace after that, but it's just joyful to sort of. I mean, I don't want to talk too soon until we're safe, but just to give you a little bit and then take it away.
Yeah, no. Right, Daz, you ready, mate?
Let's go.
All right. Go.
Do they play for the Big Six?
No.
Are they in the relegation
No.
zone? So they're mid-table. Is it a team?
Oh wait,
Brentford?
so you asking, are they currently in the top 6?
No, one of the Big
No.
Six. So they're not in the relegation
No.
zone, no? Crystal Palace?
No.
Brentford? Jesus. Nottingham Forest?
Yes,
Do they play up front?
they do.
Chris
It
Wood?
is Chris Wood. Well done.
What a season
Right,
he's
Haz,
having.
You got yeah. He's on fire. That.
What season Forest having?
Oh,
That's mental.
But it's nice.
I
Isn't it nice
love it.
seeing Newcastle win a trophy? Villa's been in the Champions League. Forest are up there. You know, it's better than keep seeing the same teams over and over and over again.
Yeah. I just want
100%.
City to get smashed. Just get City out the FA Cup.
They got
Yeah.
Forest in there.
Yeah. I think they could.
Yeah,
Forest could do it.
Yeah, Forest.
Oh,
I want a
definitely.
Villa Forest final, personally.
No.
Yeah. That's proper old school Premier League,
Oh,
isn't it?
who was the other team? Palace, wasn't it? Palace Villa?
I wouldn't mind the Palace, but just something about Villa Forest. 2 good fans, 2 big clubs, sleeping giants. I mean,
oh, don't. What's this fucking Gary Weaver? Jesus Christ!
And they're both ex-European champions as well.
We got Gary Weaver on the podcast now. Oh, sleeping giants!
He's like literally. He just recycles every.
they are sleeping giants. You can't deny that.
No.
They are.
Whatever. Bloody fuck that. Forest Palace final.
Right. Haz, if you win this, you have a 1 this week.
Oh, that's good.
Are you ready? Go.
Do they play in the traditional top 6?
No.
Are they currently in the top 6?
No.
Are they in the relegation zone?
No.
Do they play for Wolves?
No.
Brentford?
No.
Palace?
No.
Everton?
Yes.
James Tarkowski?
No.
Beto?
No.
Jack Harrison?
No.
Joe Garner?
No.
Jordan
How long's
Pickford?
left?
30 seconds. No.
Ashley Young?
30 seconds.
No.
Michael Keane?
No.
Iliman Ndiaye?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Mikalenko?
No.
Oh, fuck me, mate.
Second.
That must be 30
10 seconds.
Right, let's have a think. I'll just save up my one guess.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of what I haven't said.
Final guess.
I was just trying to think of their starting 11 yesterday in the Merseyside derby. Oh, Jesus Christ. Idrissa Gana Gay.
No.
Ah.
Can I have a guess?
Go on then.
He don't win it, though.
Branthwaite?
No, you don't win it. You don't win it, but you can have a go.
Branthwaite?
No.
Oh, O'Brien?
No. It is an ex-Pompey player, if that helps.
Who's that?
That doesn't
I
have.
had to give you one hard one each, to be fair. It is Asmir Begovic.
Is he still there?
Oh, dear.
Really?
Oh,
He is still there.
Jesus,
Yep.
I thought he'd retired.
I don't know if you guys heard it, Jim. My daughter.
I did, yeah. I thought you were like shaving. I thought you were shaving your pubes or something.
I thought his missus got a vibrator out. Right. That's your chance to win now.
We started. So how's that work?
Did he? Oh, he did start. Sorry, yeah. Ignore me. Oh, that's a sudden death then, isn't it? Sorry, excusez-moi. So I'm going to come out with another kind of what we did last week, if you remember correctly.
No, I don't.
I did how many windows does Buckingham Palace have?
700.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? Yes, I remember that.
So it has, again, as you are behind, you get the advantage of saying the answer or going just higher or lower.
I'll go second.
Hold on. No, surely not.
Right. How many meters, Daz, is the Eiffel Tower?
Oh,
meters.
Or, okay, would you rather have, meters or feet? Because I got both. Okay,
Feet.
go feet then.
Jesus Christ.
2 feet. No, I'm joking. Feet. 500. Oh, I'm gonna go. Well, I'm just trying to put myself up against Eiffel Tower and then put me on top of each other. I might be a wild boys. Hold on. I've seen it enough times in the flesh now, so it's going to be annoying if I swear it's probably written all over it when I've walked around it.
Did you take the ruler that day?
Should have done, yeah. One of those meter sticks used to have at school. It's going to be really annoying.
Come on, mate.
I'm going to go 200 feet.
Higher.
Did you just say 200 feet?
I don't
That's
know.
shocking.
Oh! Sorry.
What is it? Like 500-600 feet?
Oh, huh?
500-600 feet? I don't know.
No, it's way more than
Is
that.
it?
It's 1,083
Oh, wow.
feet.
Do you know what? I had 1,000 in my head for some reason, and I was just
What, and then you decided to divide it by 5?
Yeah.
This is like a football podcast, not a fucking building podcast, architecture podcast.
Well, that's now brought it. Has 10, Dad's 11.
Ooh. And also, I should have got to go second this time. It has got 2 first picks. That doesn't make sense.
Well, when you're eventually going to go behind at this rate, you'll get the advantage then, won't you?
Well, I won't.
Is that a baby crying?
Huh?
That's a baby crying, I hear. Going, wow, wow, wow.
I was about to call you a CUNT.
Let's not go that far on this podcast, eh?
No, we will. Oh, we will.
Wait till we play Scum next season then, all right?
No holds barred.
It's going to the wire now. How many weeks we got left?
Oh, we got 5 podcasts left? 6 podcasts
5.
left?
Nah, I'm not doing anything now. That's it, I'm done.
He was like 7-2 up at one point or something, wasn't he?
Well, he was. Well, now wasn't it like 11-6?
But then Russ came up with stupid bloody ideas. Like, what's that building show when they go around fucking buildings?
Dad, do you want me to knock off 2 points?
Grand design.
Next week, the quiz is all going to be about meters and feet.
Boy, you leave Kevin McLeod out of this, Daz. He's a quality guy.
I've got a mate I think is an architect. I'm gonna go sit around his house all week.
Right. Now that's
right, come on.
Wait.
This is the time of the week.
Russ's favourite time of the week.
I will miss this when we end. You have to just text me one a week.
No, I'll save it. Oh, yes, ladies and gents, you know exactly what time it is. It is time for Harry's Who Am I? So, clue number 1. I played for 5 teams within an hour's drive of Portsmouth.
5 teams.
Brett Pittman.
Yeah, Jesus.
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
Oh,
I will get. Come on, Daz.
5. So an hour, 5 teams. So how can you get to London in an hour in the car? Is it on by car or by train?
I'd imagine car.
It would have to be, wouldn't it? So you're talking an hour.
So you could have Scum, obviously.
Yeah, because obviously don't forget I live in Winchester. So
Is Bournemouth
like
an hour away?
it's a bit further than an hour, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it takes. Yeah, I think Bournemouth would be. We could be just under an hour.
56 minutes, Bournemouth to Portsmouth.
Eastleigh as well.
Yeah.
Like Ben Close, and I wasn't around playing because I know Ben Close played for Eastleigh.
But then Doncaster as well.
Yeah.
What about someone like Matt Tubbs or?
Yeah, because Crawley. That's Crawley, Bournemouth, Eastleigh. Good shout, Eastleigh. I'm going to go Matt Tubbs. Not bad shout.
I don't think either
Crawley.
answer was bad. Good
No.
shout.
Clue number 2. I played with Nick Orford, Eddie Howe, and Joel Ward, but not at Pompey.
Fuck me. Did Nick Orford play somewhere else then?
I think. Is it Danny Hollands?
I've got a feeling that he would have played with Danny Hollands at Pompey, wouldn't he?
Well, I thought because Danny Hollands has played at obviously Gosport, and I got a feeling Nick Orford had played there before.
Probably
Because those boys can't do those rounds because there's a couple of like Pompey youth and academy players that like.
But let's try to think. So you've got obviously Scum, Bournemouth, Bognor, Gosport, haven't. Is this the last quick clue, or was this?
You got one more.
I got one.
What players have we sent to Bognor on like loan or something, or ended up there?
Loads.
Yeah.
He's played with Nick Orford, and who was it? Nick Orford. Who else? Sorry, was the other two?
Eddie Howe and Joel Ward.
So Joel Ward would have.
Didn't Joel? Hang on. So Eddie Howe, obviously we know was at Bournemouth. Did Joe Ward go on loan to Bournemouth at some point? I'm sure he.
It's Crystal Palace. Is that South? Obviously, because that's not proper South London. Is that an hour from Pompey?
Nah, surely more. I'm sure Joe Ward went on loan to Bournemouth. Eddie Howe was at
Bournemouth. Nick
Orford is going to have to be like a Gospel or. So we're looking at, in my opinion, an ex-Bournemouth player.
Russ, is your guess on clue number 2?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of.
It's not someone like Jason Pearce.
When did we sign Eddie Howe? It was right at the end of the 2002 season, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was a season we got promoted into the Premier League. He was the first signing, wasn't he?
So I'm trying to think of a player that was around at Bournemouth that we might have gone on. Richard Hughes? Could have been.
Clue number 3. I represented England national team, but it was the beach national team.
What a question. It's got to be an ex-Bournemouth player. Did Eddie go back to Bournemouth? I'm sure
he did. He did go back, but did he play much?
I'm sure he did. I remember him going on loan when we were in the Premier League, and then did he go back after we released him?
It couldn't be someone like Jason Pearce, could it?
Be. Did Pearce play for the Gospel or anyone like that? Or Scum?
Again, like they could have, like Jason Pearce, that lot, those players in the academy could have been sent to likes of Gosport, because around that time, actually no, they wouldn't have been.
The thing is I swear the answer's still Brett Pittman, other than the
Yeah.
because he was at Bournemouth.
You can
He would have played with Eddie Howe.
you can guess him again if you want. It's still not going to be
No.
right.
Just saying, I wonder if it'd be funny if Pittman does kind of fit the other two questions, but obviously not the last. I'm just trying to think of ex-Bournemouth players. It has to be a Bournemouth player.
Mm.
I just can't think of one that we've. Well, there's probably been a few. This should be not easy, but we should have names coming off our. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
I'm going to play the Harrys Who Am I intro again, and you've got until the end of that to come up with another one. If you don't, that's it, just to keep it going. Okay?
Got him. Yeah. Quick Google.
I think there's a few that match up, if that makes sense. I can think of like like Danny Holland still fits. Because he was at Bournemouth,
Right.
wasn't
Have either of you got a guess?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Jason Pearce. No.
Russ, it's down to you.
Lee Bradbury, I don't know.
Oh, but before you give us the answer, it's not like Nigel Attingana or something like that.
Was it an ex-Bournemouth player? Put me out of my misery. Was it an ex-Bournemouth player?
Yes.
Fuck's sake. This is going to be such a... Oh, of course it was.
So, do you want the name or do you want the teams that they've played with the other players first?
Yeah, do that.
So they played with Nick Orford at Hampton Waterlooville. They played with Eddie Howe at Swindon and Joel Ward at Bournemouth.
So I didn't even know how even went to Bournemouth. Swindon.
So the answer is Sammy Igo.
Sammy Igo.
Right. Sammy
Igo, whatever.
Right, we get a point for that. We get
you
a
can
point.
tell he thinks a player he's never seen play.
Yeah.
Wow. I used to love Sammy Igo.
Didn't know him well enough though, did you, Russ? No.
No.
Sammy Igo.
But to be fair,
also played for
what stumped me was I didn't know Eddie Howe played for Swindon.
Yeah. That's why I put Swindon rather than Bournemouth, because I knew it kind of, hopefully it would throw some people off.
Oh, it definitely did. Well, it threw me off because I just generally thought Howe only played for us and Bournemouth, and that was it.
Right, so after another victory for me there as well, we're doing very well if your name is Harry. Let's go to any other business. So we'll start off with the Portsmouth Supporters Trust did a survey beginning of this year. They put it out to, I think, 1,000 Portsmouth Supporters Trust members. Just over 1,000 people replied, just to kind of gauge where people are at. So they came out with a list of different things. You had the men's team, you had Fratton Park, financial sustainability of the club, overall strategic direction, the matchday experience, ticketing, feeling safe at the stadium, the connection to the community, training ground, youth academy, transport, food and drink, club kits and merchandise, and Pompey women. The things that came out as the most important overall were: third place was the financial sustainability of the club. Second was Fratton Park itself. And first was the men's first team. The topics that the Pompey supporters were happiest with: third was the matchday experience and atmosphere, which I do think has improved over the last few years. I think that's pretty much a given. Second was the financial sustainability of the club. We are in a good position financially. We are debt free, because of the money's been put in has been turned into shares rather than loans. And then number one is feeling safe at the stadium, which is really a good thing to have top with with lots of children and vulnerable people there. It's all about feeling safe. The stadium is for everyone. It's for people to come and support. It's where we all grow together of different beliefs and ethnicities and everything else, and ages and everything else, and we all come together as one because we all love the one thing, and that is Pompey. So the fact that everyone feels safe is pretty key. Quickly, a few more things before I get your thing. You'll get your responses. 89% of supporters think the current season ticket price is fair. 68% of supporters want the club to operate in a sustainable way rather than being reliant on money from the owners. So, Daz, I'll go to you on that. So that means 32% of people would rather just take a shed load of money from the owners to keep pumping in than rather than be sustainable. Can you understand that side of view, or do you think the sustainable way is really the way to go forward?
I mean, I can understand like both sides of the argument, like because I, for one, like I want us to be sustainable and things like that. But obviously now we're in the Championship, our budget is apparently the bottom. I don't know for definite if that's exactly the case, but we're not gonna be at the bottom three for budgets. We can't, unless we bring in other ways of making a lot of money and stuff like that. We're not going to be able to progress on that. And with teams that are coming up from below, like the likes of Birmingham, it could be potentially Wrexham. That's two other teams that definitely have a wage budget that's probably higher than ours. They're gonna need at some point over the next, if we can stay in the league for the foreseeable future, the budget's gonna have to increase, and if they can't bring money in to increase that budget, they're gonna have to dip into their pockets and maybe, as long as they put the money in as equity, the club's not in debt and that sort of stuff. So we'd be fine on that part of things. But you can't just throw loads of money at it and stuff like that because we've been burnt before. I think my opinion is somewhere in the middle of all those things. Maybe I'm sitting on the fence, I don't know, but we do need more investment because we can't keep a bottom the league budget and not that we expect to stay up, but as the seasons go on, if we stay in the league for another 2-3 seasons, in those 2 or 3 seasons, the budget will need to go up because you can't constantly keep outdoing the budget. You just can't. It'd be unfair on I want John Messina here for the rest of my life, but I can't see that happening. Whoever then comes in and you can't keep performing miracles. If we've got the sixth bottom budget, then I could understand that, and we could probably keep going along like that route for a little while longer. But we can't have a bottom of the table budget for more than 2 seasons and expect us to stay
That's
up.
it. And Russ, it's kind of as Daz said, it's kind of a bit of both, really, isn't it? Because you can't be sustainable in the position we were in without having investment from the owners, and you need to have a certain amount of investment to be able to become sustainable. So it's kind of a bit of a mismatch of both, isn't it? Like a mashup rather.
Yeah, it's but you need the balance of both. Whereas the one thing I think we discussed on here before and is they need to invest a little bit, gamble a little bit. Okay, they could argue now, if we're on course to stay up, they could say, well, we did what we said and we kept you up and we did it our way. But there is a time when I think you do have to, and it's not silly money. When no one's asking them to start buying players for 5, 6, 7 million. Do you know what I mean? But if my concern has always been I don't want us being next year's Plymouth where we don't invest. There's a chance some players might be looked at from other clubs. You don't know. They then move on. And then you're stuck because you didn't have a little gamble where, if you generally believe the team can stay up and their goal has always been, if we're going in the Championship, we're staying there, then, if you know you're going to get the money back next season, there's no harm in having that little gamble, because the difference in money between League One and the Championship is massive. It's huge.
Yeah, that's it, and it's all about balance, isn't it? There's minimal investment, and then there's kind of showing a little bit more intent, and there is a fine line. And I don't think there's many fans that want them to or expect them to just put 30 million in a season as such on the transfers or anything. It's about kind of, let's go and spend, I don't know, 1 to 2 million on one player at some point. Let's kind of, even if you have one big signing and the rest are kind of under a million, under 500,000, I don't know. It depends on who they are, right? But if you have a star signing, I know obviously, our star signing this really, you had Josh Murphy, who's a free transfer, and Nicholas Schmid, who cost us 400k. So we certainly have the eyes for talent in our ranks, but they obviously still have to work within a certain budget. But can that budget be upped? It should be upped next season or over the summer. But
I think Messina, didn't he recently say that he has got more money to spend if we stay up?
I would imagine so.
And I'm sure he said that there's money to spend millions on players, is what was reported. Obviously, but as people always say, when people go, "Oh, is this what you call splashing the cash?" When that was the news. It was never the club doing.
Yeah. And some of it's down to the new TV deal that's coming into effect next year. So that was kind of helpful. It's good that we're staying up, because we're going to be getting more money via the TV deals, which could help in more investment and stuff as well. So the topics ranked in order were for 1 to 14. Obviously, men were at top, Fratton Park. You kind of find your way down. The youth academy was probably one of the worst things. Like, what are you happy with currently? We've gone through feeling safe at the stadium was number 1. Men's first team was 5th on the list. Ticketing is 8th. Training ground and facilities are 9th. The bottom 2 were bottom 3. Pompey women were 12th. That had an average score of 2.79. Transport links to the stadium 2.69, which we kind of all know needs to be worked on with that bridge that might or might not be built. And bottom is probably one of our main gripes with the way that the regime has gone so far, is the youth academy, and the real lack, certainly the lack of pathway. Daz, do we feel like we're kind of leaving the academy behind? Do we feel like we should maybe go down the Brentford model and go for a B team rather than we certainly need a development squad. That's pretty obvious to most people, and if you can't see that we need a development squad, you're not that intelligent for me. But do you think we should go down a Brentford route of kind of getting rid of the academy, or is it something we could do with put a bit more into? Obviously, we are fighting big clubs around us taking their players.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, because you don't want to. I do think we need to keep hold of the academy. But it's that bridging the gap between the academy and the first team. I think a club of our size, we should have the whole shebang, academy into a development squad and then into like the first team and things like that. I'd feel quite sad if we got rid of the academy, because I mean, we've just trying to think, we must have had the academy for God knows how many years. And yeah, it's one of those things where I think you kind of need to be in the club to kind of really know the benefits and what we'd get more out of if we got rid of the academy, or if we had the development squad, or this and that, the other. Like, because I'd like to think people at the club have like put all these scenarios together and which one's going to be best for them, which one's not going to be best for them. Because we've got, I'm pretty sure we've got a lot of talent in and around these areas, and obviously if we do get ready the academy, then we're going to lose all of those players to Scum, Bournemouth, Brighton, and then trying to get them back at a development stage, like an under-23 stage, is not going to be easy. You're then just picking up all the players that are released, which is not bad if you're getting them from like an under-16 level or stuff like that. But trying to get hold of them at like under-21 and under-23 could prove to be quite difficult. But again, it's these conversations are probably best had with someone that's more like within that industry. I've got my coaching badges and I've like coached at under 18 and under 16 level and stuff like that, but not for a professional club and stuff like that. So I think you need to know the proper ins and outs to really make a like nailed on decision.
Russ?
Honestly, my opinion is development squad is the only way to go. The amount of money the club would have to invest in getting I can never remember the level or category or however it is. Is it category 3 you got to be?
We're cat C, isn't it? Cat C, cat B, cat A.
Yeah.
Would you get rid of the academy if it meant we had a development squad? Though
all day long.
You would,
yeah, because I just think it's pointless. I honestly, it's sad, but that's that's the hole that we dug years ago. Got nothing to do with the Eisners.
No,
this has been an issue. In my honest opinion, you probably point the finger at someone like Milan Mandrick. He should have done more. He was probably too focused on getting to the Premier League, which he delivered. But how the whole time he was around and the amount of money he was putting in the club, we never owned the training grounds, never developed Fratton Park at all. I think we put a couple extra rows into the North Stand after getting promotion, and I think that's about as far as it went. Never got the academy sorted. And I believe we had choices of sorting out the academy or getting a better training grounds, and they chose Noe Pamaro over it. That was the time to invest instead of as don't get me wrong, I wouldn't swap it for the world. Instead of getting Sol Campbells and people like that in, that was probably the time to have started to build something and then go forward from there. But when people blame the Eisners for the academy, it's got nothing. They've got no chance.
I think it's just because of their pitch, isn't it? Like,
I think they're just naive. They had no idea.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just I think they probably didn't help themselves with that kind of statement at the beginning, but maybe they didn't realise quite how bad it was, or not bad, but just how far behind we are in terms of investment and like the actual size of the academy. And we're coming up against Premier League teams that just taking them. You can even go back to when Mason Mount was a child, and that's like 20 odd years ago. He got taken away and he went to Chelsea because teams like Chelsea have always had that academy, and he had a pathway, and there was a pathway just about for Chelsea players, but he got in there. And you've had people, Bournemouth, Brighton have got an academy and a building and have kind of invested there and have got people in and got money, or even they've kind of not necessarily the academy, but even then they've got people like Caicedo and players like that who they brought in for like 4 million and then sold for over 100. That's the dream, but they had the right owners at the right time to do that model, and the time that they started that, we didn't have the right owners. So as much as the Eisners probably haven't put in as much as we would like, but they're also starting so far behind. It's like they're starting the 100 meters, like from the 400-meter line.
Probably even closer than that.
Well, yeah, because they're so far behind. That's not their fault. They've got to come up with some kind of creative solution to come up and to try and like caveat the gap. And I think that probably is to go down like the Brentford route of the B team and the development squad rather than the academy, because the way it works now, it just doesn't work. We're not getting any players come through. I mean, who was really the last academy player that came through and made a substantial impact on the first team? We're probably going back. Are we going back to like Adam Webster and Connor Chaplin? Have we had anyone since then?
Not that's gone on to do anything. Like Bass, you could argue, but he's gone backwards compared to us.
And that was down really. They only came in because they had to. They had to really. We didn't really have anyone else. They were given a chance, which they have. Players haven't been given a chance in the last few years because, you know, we had even high hopes for Kobe Motta, didn't we? Last year or the year before, he was looking good in the Papa Johns and places, cup games like that. He was showing intent, and Man City were even after him, but we still released him, and he's gone. I think he went to Poole Town or something like that. Like, the players we've got aren't good enough, and they're constantly being released. But we can't keep just plunging through these players every year and giving scholarships every year, and we can't just keep ending up just releasing them. At some point, there's got to either be an end goal of the talent is improved, or you've got to change what we're doing because it's not quite working.
With the players we signed, though, I genuinely thought that was the way we were going. But then when we had Andrew Moon on, he didn't seem to agree. Because you think with Blair and Kamara and them types, to me it makes perfect sense. Now is the time to sort of start looking at least to get it. Because why are you bringing in Kamara and Blair if you're not going to give them game time? They're not going to do anything.
But then even then in January, why didn't they get loaned out?
Don't know.
Because neither of them are clearly good enough for the Championship currently.
No.
But they could be in the future. It's not it's not their shit we need to sell. They're just not mature enough and haven't played enough men's football, either of them, to be able to impact a Championship side yet. So in January, why weren't they loaned out? Whether it was to League One or to League Two, just to get half a season under their belt. Neither of them are in the first team squad. They're not in the match day squad. They're just chilling and they're just training.
Maybe there was no one that could take him on.
Really?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, like all these teams are working to a budget. Like the only way you'd probably be able to get them to play, go to a club would be say, look, we'll pay all the wages. But then again, like,
but surely that's more beneficial, even if you have to pay all their wages.
But yeah, but that's the thing is though. Some clubs are just like, especially because where would they go? They go down to League One, League Two, stuff like that. Like Kamara hasn't played enough football for a top end League One team to take the gamble. He's a bottom of the end League One team might not have the budget. In League Two, it'll be the same thing. They won't have the budget and stuff like that. Like, then that's January is a massive problem. If it was the summer, I would probably think it'd be a bit different. I think in the summer, Kamara and Blair will be easier to go out on loan because they can have a whole summer with the whole pre-season with a club, and then go on to there. You're getting someone in January. Like, you can't take risks in January unless you're like middle of the table. But then the majority of teams don't, or will just stick with what they've got. You've got to. January is such an important window for the top and the bottom of the league. You can't get it wrong. You can't take a gamble.
I'm same as Has. What's the difference in them turn up, train every day, and send them out on loan, and they don't need, we'll cover the costs because it makes literally no difference to us. So I'd rather they play, even if it was National League, to the end of the season. Just play football. Do you know what I mean? Just get them out.
Also, the problem is as well. Like, the players got to want to go as well. If you offered them a National League side team, they might go, no, I want to stay and train. I want to play.
Surely, as a footballer, you want to be playing matches. You don't want to be training all the time.
But
if you're dropping from the Championship down to the National League, that's a massive jump.
There must have been a plan. That's if I'd love to ask a Cullen or Hughes or Messino. Why sign him if you didn't have a plan? Like for me,
exactly.
go, let's buy Kamara. He's not for now. Even buy him in the summer and send him out on loan straight away. You know, we're bringing him in. We're going to send you out on loan for a year. See what. Come back in the summer next year, and we'll go from there. Like it seems like they kind of got him in when we got these players for the future, then did nothing with them. Blair, I kind of
I see
because I think he generally was brought in to be in the squad. I don't think Kamara was.
I'm not sure. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other things that you guys are like really impressed with, or think that could be improved on? Like, obviously we're all season ticket holders. We're going every week to Fratton Park. I think the fan zone has improved. It was a bit basic at first, but now we've got the lights, we've got better signage, we've got like the big porter cabins all the way along.
Speakers could do with improving, couldn't they?
The what? Sorry.
You know, in the grounds when they talk over the tannoy, you can't hear a fucking word half the time.
Yeah, the tannoys do. The tannoys are probably one of the highest. It was one of the highest things questioned, especially in the North Stand. But I mean, sorry, Spurs have just scored. God, I've completely lost myself. Even in the South Stand where I am, I'm down at the front, and it literally cuts out every other word, so you kind of hear number 6, Connor, and then that's what you get. And because Ogilvy is not available, like, yeah, I don't know whether I don't know whether the guy on the tannoy is too loud for the system, or whether the system needs to be changed. Something's got to do, like something's.
Yeah, maybe he's doing that European thing where he says the first name and everyone's meant to shout the.
He's definitely not.
Arsenal tried that as well, didn't
they? Oh, of course they did. Only Arsenal would do that. Anyway, I'm not getting into Arsenal.
I mean, no. I mean the ground is probably looked its best. Like,
well, that's going to be disallowed, surely, Harry. Sorry.
I mean, Russ, like obviously we were both we're at Fratton Park when the Fratton end was tiny. And to be honest, I actually loved that. Like, it was quality, like bringing back really good memories. But yeah, like all around the ground now it's a lot nicer, aesthetically pleasing for the majority. I think the new TV gantry looks lovely.
I think the North Stand just needs some love.
And that's probably next on the list.
Yeah. And nothing's ever going to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to be finished, because it's just not. Like, there's always things you can add to it, things you can do a little bit better and stuff like that. But I mean, from what it was before the Eisners came, and I don't know about all this safety stuff. Like, you'd need to read up on it properly and actually see documentation about it, because anyone can say anything about anything. But the ground looks better.
Absolutely.
Like, I know a lot of people have been moaning and saying about the fact that we need to expand, which we probably do. I think we do need to add some more seats in there. I don't know how many, because even though we've got great support, there's not been season after season after season where it's been sold out every week. Like, obviously last season, because we're top of the league, it was sold out more often. But seasons before that, like, there was a fair few empty seats. So we do need to increase the capacity, but I don't know how much we can increase it by. You don't want to over-increase it.
I'd say it could go up to 25, and then one of them things where you leave, they cleverly leave space so you can perhaps put another 5 on.
Yeah, I think 25. Look, you've got a season ticket waiting list of 2,500, 3,000 now, haven't you? So that's another 2,500, 3,000 you could potentially get in.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see how much that went down if we went down.
Yeah,
like with that.
But that waiting list was there before we got promoted. Don't forget as well. So obviously it's gone up, but it was there.
Yeah.
So.
But was that last season when we were going up?
I think no, because even at the beginning of last season, I think there was a 1,500 to 2,000 waiting list then. So the demand is there, and I think that you're right. The demand's there to get to 2.5, to get to 25,000. But any bigger than that, you'd have to then kind of decide: is it really financially viable to go to 30,000 if you could even get that high, where we are, without literally spunking 100 million plus in there, which I don't think is probably not the most sensible thing or financially viable. So yeah, that's the kind of the gist of the PST's kind of review. It was a small sample, like 1,000 fans out of a 20,000 fan stadium is not a massive sample size, really. It's quite a small percentage. Maybe they could try and do a bigger one, because the Portsmouth women are at the bottom of this, but we need to know how many PST members go or are interested in Portsmouth women, because if you're not inclined to go to Portsmouth women, we need to hear from the actual going fans of Pompey women that go to the home games or the away travel away. We need to hear more from them on that, because they're the ones that experience it. Whereas myself, I don't go to Pompey women, so I don't really have an opinion on how well they are or how good they're doing, because I don't know enough about it. So we need to hear more on that side of it from the match going fans or season ticket holders of Pompey women, so we can understand really how we are. But being football fans, no matter who you are, no matter what club, you'll always find something to moan about. Right, on that, shall we move on to our relegation? Who we think will go?
Yep.
Russ, do you want to take us away? We kind of had a little discussion between us on our group chat last night after the derby beating Preston. Obviously, it then reduced the gap to 5 points. So, do you want to just tell us the three that you think are going?
Yeah, I kind of just did like a look at all the teams from I think it's QPR down.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of gave everyone like either a win, loss, draw, added the points up with what they've already got. I've got us to finish on 54 points.
I'll take that.
Just out of curiosity. But my bottom three was Plymouth. I didn't even bother, because for me they're gone. They're the only one I literally. They might not finish bottom, but I got them to finish in the bottom
Don't
three.
forget, we gave them 6 points this season.
I know, that makes it even worse, doesn't it? But the other two I've got is Luton. So even though I questioned it, by the time I worked out with the fixtures they got, they ended up being in the bottom three, along with Oxford. I've got.
Oh, because they were looking pretty comfortable. They've kind of varied, haven't they, this season? Oxford, they had a really good start to the season, and then obviously they kind of dipped, and they sacked Des Buckingham, and they got in Gary Rowett. They had a real new manager bounce, and they kind of looked way clear. They were over 10 points clear at one point, and then they've kind of dropped off again and been drawn right back into it. Myself, I think Plymouth, as Russ said, I think Plymouth are gone. I think Luton are gone as well, just going by the fixtures that they've got. They've got a few tough ones, and I just don't.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? I bet I got them to get 43 points.
Yeah, I just don't think that Matt Bloomfield has made a good enough impact in what they would have wanted. So I do think they will suffer back to backs. After the last probably month or so, I think Derby are right in it, and I think Derby are probably going to stay up. They've picked John Eustace has got them winning games. I don't know how the style of play John Eustace is. I'm not going to preach on that, but he's being effective, and it's a more effective way than Paul Warne was, which isn't exactly hard to do. He's got the players playing for him. Marcus Harness is playing like he did in that season for us. He's getting the goals and assists, and he's kind of got a free role, I kind of think, kind of just running about, and that's exactly where his best role was for us. So I think Derby will stay, and then for me that leaves it between Hull and Cardiff, and I think Cardiff are gone. I think Cardiff will go. Again, they have got a few hard games in there. And
I think their next 3, though, is that where they stay up or go down.
yeah, I think maybe part of it's because I just really want us to have a slight chance of getting Alex Robertson. But I just think Omar Isar's not a great manager. They've got the talent to stay up, like the likes of Robertson and Ruben Colwell are top quality players, and they are at championship level. But there's something about the way that they played under Risa that's just not working. You know, he came in as caretaker manager. They did really well. Didn't get given the new contract, and then they waited until they dropped off massively, and then kind of turned shit, and then gave him the job permanently, which seems a bit bizarre, certainly timing wise. And I don't think he'll be there next season, especially if they do go down. I don't see him carrying on. So I think it'll be Plymouth bottom, then Luton, and then Cardiff, which is currently as it stands now. Daz?
Yeah, has mine's exactly the same as yours, and my thinking was between Cullen Hardif. Fucking hell, I must be tired. I need my Rovers original to go to bed. It was between Hull and Cardiff, and yeah, I just think Cardiff might slip into there. Derby, and the thing is with Derby, like I know they've had these 4 wins. It will be interesting to see how they do once they've picked up a loss after this run, whether that's this weekend or come in. I don't think they got a midweek game before they play us as well. So obviously it's good to ride a wave, and we did it, didn't we, with the 3 wins on the bounce, and then obviously dropped off a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, Plymouth are down in my eyes already, and yeah, Luton and Cardiff were my other 2. But I mean, we could come back to this in the next pod, and it could be completely flipped on its head. But Plymouth will be going down still anyway.
I'll tell you why I went for Oxford though. Their running is really hard. They've got Sheffield United. They've got QPR at home, which could go either way. It could be a draw. They've got Sheffield Wednesday away, which I don't think they'll do anything. They've got Leeds. I think they lose to Cardiff away. They got Sunderland. And I was just struggling to find where they're going to get points from.
Yeah. And the thing is, Gary Rowett, like, to go from, I can't remember what his name is now,
Des
the old
Buckingham.
manager they had, to then go to Gary Rowett. Yeah, Des, but that's a massive change in playing style. So I found that quite odd because, like, obviously in the summer, that's when you build your squad and your playing style and stuff like that. To then bring in a manager that doesn't really match that, and from what I've seen, a lot of Oxford fans don't like his brand of football, and they probably got a bit giddy when he first came in, and they won a fair few games, and now it seems their fan base seems to be turning a little bit, because that's the thing with, I mean, it was like us with Kenny Jackett, wasn't it? Like, if you're winning, you don't care how you win, it is what it is. But if you're not winning and then you're playing that kind of brand of football, you're not even getting any entertainment out of it. So you're spending money just to be bored and lose at the same time. So yeah, Oxford wouldn't be far off for me. Again, it was like at the moment it's a flipping a coin, isn't it, for probably the bottom 6 or 7, really.
Because I literally had Cardiff, Hull, Oxford, and Derby all to be literally within a point or 2.
It'll be close, that's for sure. But
yeah, it's like closing your eyes and throwing a dart at that bottom half of the table. No one would laugh at you with any of the suggestions, like, because we can't, even us. Like, I think we'll stay up. But if someone put us in that bottom 3, I would be like, well, I mean, it's understandable. It's not like we're 10 points clear anymore or anything like that. So you can't laugh at anyone.
You can't be on the end of some of the drubbings we've been on the end of, and then not expect to be in a dogfight.
The only way I will start to really worry is if we lose our next 2 and then do even draw with Derby.
Yeah,
that would just be horrific. If we lose the next 2 and then beat Derby, I think that's job done.
What would that put us on? 48 then?
Yeah. And then I think you got 1, 2, 3, 4 games after that where you probably just need a point or two. And I think we beat Watford at home personally. I think we beat Hull as well at home.
I don't think we'll beat Wednesday, and I don't think we'll beat Norwich. So
no, same. But if you can get a draw against them, if we can get a point out of the next 2, I'll be satisfied. If we get 2 points or more, be over the moon, because I think you then can literally draw a Mill or draw a Coventry, beat Derby, and you got 50 points and you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, with our predictions, I don't think that's going to happen. But if we get 4 out of the next 3, it is pretty much job done, isn't it?
Yeah,
and we're 4.
definitely. Yeah. So just before we finish, I'll just quickly go over kind of the injuries because I didn't touch on them on the previews. Massino said that we trained with 23 outfield players, which is the most we've had in a few months, I think he said. We've got a few short-term niggles that are back. So Yengi is back and Sadie is back fully fit, available. Obviously, Sadie was available at the weekend, but not used. And then Shaughnessy and Atkinson are on the grass, but not involved in full training yet. They are just completing their rehab on the grass, which is good news. So they will be back probably Easter time if needed. But again, it's not something you probably want to rush either of them into. And then it's just Paddy Lane and Hayden Matthews aren't on the grass still, and they won't be before the end of the season. But there's still a slight chance we might see someone like Callum Lang. But again, it's probably going to be needs must. If we really desperately need him against Hull or Sheffield Wednesday, then you might take the gamble. But other than that, I think the job will be done, as Russ said, by then. So the likes of Shaughnessy, Atkinson and Lang, it's not even worth risking. But
Isn't it funny how that term on the grass has just all of a sudden come around the last few years?
Yeah.
You never heard that. And I thought it was something that just Cowley used to say. And then everyone says it now.
Well, I suppose it's kind of the second part, because you do your inside rehab, don't you, in the gym and with the physios inside, and then you do have to go out on the grass. But you are on the grass.
Oh, yeah,
you are
I think
doing probably straight line running and maybe some ball work, but you're just not.
I like it. I like the fact they do it. It's weird how it's just all of a sudden come around. Never in my life have I ever heard managers say, "Yeah, they're back on the grass," and then I thought it was just a Cowley thing, and then I hear loads of managers say it now. So, yeah, just sorry, I know it was boring, but it intrigued me.
No, I think it's good though, because it kind of splits up the difference between, kind of otherwise we just get, oh, he's injured or he's in rehab. Like, we kind of get a little bit more of the stages of it.
Yeah,
it's that little bit more information we get without giving away completely like how long they're going to be. Right, boys, is there anything else you want to discuss before we wrap up?
no, I'm good, mate.
No, good, mate.
So, safe travels to everyone going up to the Den. Probably one of the shortest trips you will do away from home this season.
Don't get beat up.
Yeah, stay safe. Don't wear your Stone Island, because it'll just attract the police and Millwall. Yeah, be safe. Safe travels up to Coventry as well. We'll be back next Thursday to review the 2 away games and then to preview our home game against Derby, which could prove to be a pretty pivotal game. So as many thanks to everyone listening live. Thank you for all of your support, and thank you to everybody listening back within the next week, back to our episodes. Daz, have a good week, my friend.
Merci, and you, mate.
You have a good one.
And you
too.
Yeah, you have a good one too, boys.
Have a good week, everyone. Thanks for listening, and play up Pompey.